You down with LCS? You down with LCS? You down with LCS? Who's down with LCS? You down with LCS? You down with LCS? You down with LCS? Who down with LCS?
Good evening, YouTube. I'm not used to doing streams at this time of night, at least not on my own channel. But I think this is episode 2, right? Of I forget what I'm even calling this. Mike is here, Casino Comics. I forget. New day after new comic book day or something like that. But anyway, we're going to go through some books that I have from this past week, catch up on a couple things. We'll keep it short tonight because there's a ton of streams going on. A lot of the community is live tonight. I was watching Lettuce Comics over on Gary B 1011. You've got Cliff and the Council with Green Shirt Guy and C Bizzle doing some drawing. Tony Old Wolf is live. There's a ton of people live, so we're going to get through some books. I'm bagging and boarding, and I figured try to do an evening stream so I can catch up with some of the community that doesn't get up early or got other plans on a Saturday. But a couple books that I picked up this week. Dan is here. What's going on? Thanks for stopping in. Spider-Man, the Spectacular Spider-Man. Just heard, I think it was within the last 2 weeks, Marvel made the announcement that they're ending this series. So I think at issue 15, this is issue 14. Issue 15 will be the last issue of this run. This has been an okay series. Nothing. The premise sounded really good, having both Peter and Miles getting together and kind of Peter kind of mentoring Miles a little bit, but it never really. The story's been a little. It almost feels like it's for a younger audience, similar to this next book, which Marvel announced too that they are canceling or ending. I wouldn't say canceling. I guess they're ending the run. Spider-Boy Volume 1. Now this is not. This didn't come out this week. I think we're at issue 18 right now, which I have here. Yeah. So they are ending this run at issue 20. Dan Slott, who helped create the character and is writing this book, is actually jumping over to DC. He's going to be writing Superman for DC. So one of the Superman books. So Spider-Boy is going to end, at least volume 1. There's some talk that they may actually bring Spider-Boy back, volume 2 at some point in the future. But yeah, so this was the latest issue. I think this was like from 2 weeks ago, Spider-Boy 18. So there's 2 more issues of this run and then it'll be done. So I was considering dropping both of these Spider-Men, Spectacular Spider-Man and Spider-Boy. But at this point, I'll just finish out the runs. It's basically 3 more issues between the 2 books and then be done with it. And I probably, if they do a second volume of Spider-Boy, I probably will not pick it up. But then on that announcement, with those 2 titles ending, they did announce that there are coming out this is in May. So it's about 3 weeks, about a month away, I think. 3 weeks, 4 weeks, Spider-Man and Wolverine. This is let me see the creative team. I think it's Carrie Andrews. Yeah, Carrie Andrews will be doing the art. And then you've got Mark Guggenheim, which I'm not familiar with. I don't think I'm familiar with his writing. But some pretty good covers. So this is going to be a new ongoing series, Spider-Man and Wolverine. That's a Clayton Crane cover. Pretty good looking cover. Good Spidey there. Guess that is the 1/100. There's a Virgin copy cover. This is the David Marquez variant, 1/25. That's just a close-up of Clayton's cover. See, there were a few other covers. This was a foil cover. So some pretty interesting covers. I'll definitely pick up this series, check it out. Obviously, having both Spidey and Wolverine should be pretty interesting. They've kind of teamed up a few times, so we'll definitely check that out. Let me see if there's any other covers. Oh, Bagley cover. So pretty cool. Definitely check that out. Give it a shot. See what see how the writing is. Let's see. We got a bunch of people joined us. Comic book fan. Good evening. Christina's here. Manny all the way from vacation. Oh, he's back. Back in the Yeah, well, Dan Slott, I was mentioning he's going to he's doing some writing for DC on Superman. I forget which of the new, I think there may be a new Superman title that he'll be doing, so that'll be interesting. Christina dropping links. Thank you. Yeah, Manny, hope you had a great vacation too. I know you were away for a couple days, spring break, not bad. So yeah, good to have you back. Red Coat was another book I picked up this week and read. Not bad. The Ghost Machine stuff has been pretty good. I find the stories to be a little bit slow, like progressing. So this is issue 11. There's a new character, the Northerner here, who's on the cover that's introduced. But I find, and I actually did a page count. So there's 22 pages of story in this issue, and they always have some character pages in the back. I felt like it was a lot shorter. It seems like the story's moving very slow in some of the Ghost Machine series. Geiger, I kind of feel the same way. But like I said, 22 pages of story and art. So it's not like they're short on pages, but it just seems like the story's not moving that fast. But still, fun, a good read. I'll definitely stick with it. I've definitely been interested in the whole Ghost Machine universe. I think the only title I'm not reading is it Hornsby and Halo, or Halo and Hornsby. I missed issue 1, and then the whole premise of that story didn't really seem to interest me, and I don't think it ties in to the overall story that Ghost Machine is building with Geiger and Redcoat and some of the other stories. So I never went back to pick it up. So yes, much love to everybody. Appreciate that, Christina. Appreciate you dropping links. CBC Awards, we got that coming up. Nominations were what, about 7 weeks out, I guess. It's 7 or 8 weeks out. No, about 7 weeks. But we'll be doing a live stream next month to go over all the details for this year's awards as well. So, but yeah, thank you for dropping the links. Ultimate Wolverine number 4. This and Ultimate Spider-Man and the Ultimates is really the only 3 Ultimate series that I'm reading. This has been pretty good, an interesting start. Wolverine as kind of the Winter Soldier. He's been kind of brainwashed, and he's doing some, missions for kind of a mutant contingency that's part of the Ultimate Universe. And this has been pretty interesting. This issue was kind of a concept issue where they were telling the story through the eyes of a wolf and a bear So you kind of see the Winter Soldier fighting, or Wolverine, Ultimate Wolverine fighting a bear. And they kind of tell you the story between a wolf and a bear fighting. So the whole issue was kind of in that format. Pretty interesting, but I didn't feel like it kind of felt like a filler issue. And for it only being issue 4 of the series, it felt kind of early for just kind of a filler issue. So it was kind of strange. And then the last book I picked up this week, which was Legacy issue 400. This is the Wolverine series. It's kind of a thick boy. There was a couple backup stories. There was a $7.99 price tag on it too. My shop gives me a discount on any book, I think over $6. I get $2 off. So only paid $6 or $5.99 for it. This has been okay. Another one of those stories that I feel like is kind of, so this is issue 8 of the new Wolverine series. And again, this feels slow because we're still dealing with the same kind of story arc. There was a secondary story that's still kind of ongoing as well, but the main story arc is still going, and we're 8 issues in. So again, it seems like this story is moving kind of slow. So I don't know if it's something I'll stick with long term. So we'll see. Sleepy's here, Damien. Good evening. Appreciate you stopping in. Mark is here, Legion of Comics. Going to be hanging out with Mark for Free Comic Book Day. I'm going to head down to visit with him. He's about 45 minutes south of me. And we're going to go hang out at ABX Comics. I think Roscoe's going to be there. Geek Out with Roscoe's going to come visit with us. And probably Alan, the Comic Viking. So we'll have a pretty good group getting together on Free Comic Book Day. So looking forward to that. That'll be fun. We did it last year, hung out with Mark. We hit a couple shops in the local area. We hit Dead Media Collections. It's kind of a secondhand collectible store. They have all kinds of stuff. He runs a Free Comic Book Day sale. So we picked up some books there. We had lunch. It was a good day. So I know Mark's got some family stuff going on that day, some kid activities, but we'll make the best of it. And actually, I think that's the weekend that, that is the weekend that the Thunderbolts open. So I don't know if maybe I'll check that out on Free Comic Book Day after we pick up some books. Oh, I didn't realize too, the red coat was a wraparound cover. Pretty good. Pretty cool. But yeah, what about anybody in the chat? What did you guys read? I know it's tomorrow. Is it tomorrow? Superman Day. I know there was a new Superman book out this past week. I didn't pick it up. I'll probably read it digitally. Trying to cut down on the number of physical books that I'm picking up, but still trying to read a little bit more on digitally. So, yeah, that's right. Southern Gentleman enjoying ABX. ABX does a great job too. Paul, the owner, they bring in a lot of local talent, artists and writers and different people from the community that come hang out. It's kind of a big day at the shop. So yeah, pretty cool. They had last year, they had some a couple creators come in, some artists. So it was a big deal. It was a big all day event, obviously at the shop. So yeah, not unlike some of the hangouts you've been having, Damien. I know you've gotten together recently. I know a lot of the folks were up to visiting. A lot of the community was taking part in the Comics Will Break Your Heart, the service that they had for her at her comic shop. So I saw some of the footage from actually that you did, and then some of the stuff that John's Comics with Kids did, which was really was really special to see the the community get together and just remember Jen, and so that was nice to see. And too, I saw on some of John's videos that they were Jen had kind of left her PC for people to go through and pick up some books from. So that was pretty special too. So yeah, last year, Mark, we had lunch and we had some nice brisket. Yeah, Redcoat. I mentioned probably before you joined. The only negative for me with Redcoat and even with Geiger, the story seems to be moving very slow to me. I don't know if it's the pacing or it just feels that way, because I actually did a page count on the book because it almost felt like it wasn't that long of a story, but it was 22 pages, and I don't know. It just feels to me like the story's moving slow, but maybe, like I said, maybe that's me. Let's see. Okay. Still waiting on your books. Yeah, I try to hit the shop every Wednesday right after work. Got my pull list set up and go in and pick up the books, and then try to get my reading out of the way right as soon as I can, because if I let the pile linger, I tend to not get to them and not read them. So I try to read them as soon as I can. So yeah. But yeah, it is a fast read. That's why I went in and did the page count. But like I said, it does feel like the overall story is moving a little slow. But I wonder too if this is because of the connected world in the universe, in the Ghost Machine universe, that they're trying to kind of line everything up. So, but I don't know. Still enjoyable. Yeah, I mean the art is fantastic though. That's it's one thing in both in actually all of the stories, but in Geiger and Redcoat, artwork is terrific. So yeah, I guess that's a good point. I guess it is. It doesn't. It's not because the other side of that is, I know I've read some stories and I felt like they were rushed, where they were kind of wrapped up very quickly. Like there was this long setup of the story and things that were going on, and then within half an issue, the story kind of like everything got solved, everything wrapped up. So I definitely, yeah, maybe it's definitely not that. It's definitely a slower burn, but yeah, maybe I need to find that balance, because I know I've made that comment about some stories feeling rushed. I think, what was the story I read, that New Burn, which I think is still ongoing. I read the first story arc of that and really felt like there was a lot of setup to the story, and then things got solved like right away. So Cody's here. Good evening, Cody. Appreciate you stopping in. I don't have a shop close to me. Yeah. So I've been lucky. When I lived in New York and on Long Island, I had shops. I had multiple shops within 15-20 minute driving distance from my house. And there were plenty of shops. And then obviously in, New York City, you've got, Midtown and all that. And now that we've relocated to South Carolina, I have 3 shops that I can hit within 20 minutes. And then, like I said, ABX is about a 45-minute hour ride from my house. And so I actually have a pull list set up at ABX, and I try to go down and visit at least, every month, 6 weeks, and pick up the books there. I don't have a big pull list there, but some of the, like variant covers and things I'll pick up there. So yeah, I'm definitely lucky I've always been lucky from an LCS perspective. So, yeah, I was surprised when I saw that, with John, talking about going to, I guess the books were in a storage locker, or, a storage place, and, a group of people going and going through the collection, which is pretty interesting. I mean, to kind of remember somebody, you really kind of get a sense for, what they liked, obviously looking through their collection, and then being able to, take some of those books with you was kind of, was an interesting concept, thought to, obviously, Jen had been thinking about things and planning things, obviously, with her being sick, which was interesting. Interesting to see. I know, I had a brother who had passed away years ago, and he was terminally ill. He knew he was going to die. There was, it didn't look good for him, and he did a lot of that planning, so that we didn't have to, as a family, have to do those things for him. And I remember us going to the funeral home when he was still alive. He wanted to plan his service. And one of the things he asked, and I'll never forget this, he asked if he could lay in the coffin. Because obviously when he would be laying in the coffin, he wouldn't be alive. And so it was, it was typical of him, to do something like that. So, yeah, when I saw some of the video from John, the planning aspect of what Jen was doing kind of reminded me of that. So, yeah, sure, Mark, if you want to jump on. I didn't even let me drop the link. Let me copy it. Drop it. I actually forgot to drop it. Yeah, if anybody wants to jump in. JSS, good evening. Rich is here. Good evening, Rich. There he is.
They're not trying to hijack. I just saw it in the title. I didn't know if.
Yeah, I actually forgot to just drop it. I was going through the books and I was like, yeah.
You started talking Ghost Machine. I'm like, I can't type fast enough.
Yeah, I have I have my books from last week right here too. Where's Geiger?
You remember when they did the one shot to kickstart it all?
Yes.
And that was before Redcoat issue 1, and they teased this character in that one shot. That's when we first got.
Oh, the Northerner, yes.
Yeah. So 11 issues later is when they finally reveal him. That's kind of what I meant by, like, I'm happy that they're not rushing stuff. You know what I mean? Like, they waited 11 issues and didn't, like, that's almost that's a year. That's a straight up year, because it was a one shot. Then Redcoat started before they got into the characters. So, and there's other characters that we know are coming that they haven't done yet, like First Ghost that Brad Meltzer is going to be writing. So that should be amazing also.
Yeah, right. And we just got, in Geiger, we got introduced two issues ago.
Oh man, the covers since Ashley Arden has shown up have been just phenomenal. And what a great twist that's been. But again, to your slow burn point, since we started this Geiger arc, the whole thing, what issue was that? Like
This
issue 11,
is
12?
13.
So for 13 issues, he's been trying, like, it's been about finding the other glowing person,
Right.
They've been out trying to get it. And it's only now 3 issues that we've had Ashley Arden in there. but now it's like a whole different shift, and it's still the same story, but it's now shifting focus to like her intentions versus like, oh, we found someone else. Now I'm going to be happy, find a cure, whatever. So it's still the same one big story, finding the other glowing person, but I don't know. It's just very unique storytelling where some of it seems very dynamic, but it definitely seems sprawling, very sprawling.
Yes. Well, and I wonder if, because, at some point in the future that the stories are going to kind of intersect, that are they kind of being a little bit calculated with the timing of the story, because everything kind of has to come together.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely correct. At the end of Junkyard Joe Volume 1, which predates Ghost Machine, back when it was just Mad Ghost.
Right.
At the very end of Junkyard Joe, we got the teaser of the portal opening with the silhouette of Geiger, Redcoat, and the Northerner. And that was before Ghost Machine even existed. So I trust in these creators. They know what they're doing. I'm absolutely loving getting to experience and be along for the ride from the ground floor of all new characters. And as we go, it's been fun because like my hype level on them kind of does like this as I read them. Like different ones will pop, and I'll be like, okay, like this is my ranking order, and then by the next month it'll kind of shift a little bit or something. But I don't know. It's just fun. It's good storytelling, creative characters, and man, the art is so good in all of them.
I think I think at this point too, like your interview that you had with Jeff Johns, like I think there's probably so many questions we could ask him now, knowing, now that we've had a year of the stories.
That's still the highlight of my YouTube experience and lives rent free in my head all the time. Getting to hang out with him, Jason, and Brian.
Yeah, that was great. That was a fun interview.
Yeah, I'm still eternally grateful for they reached out to me. Like I didn't, I don't really do the interview thing. Yeah, they reached out to me and wanted to plan it for they wanted that stream to happen like right before their kickoff. Like that's crazy. I can make it happen. I just got on there.
They've done a good job with their promotion, because I got to see them at MegaCon 2 years ago, and they were doing just a free signing so they had a table, a booth set up, and they just did a free signing. So I have the Ghost Machine signed by the entire creative team.
Yeah, I have to get Ivan to sign mine. Everyone else has signed it because, a couple of the folks kind of got announced after the initial day because their contracts had to finish
right
where they were at. But Ivan is one of those people. You can go back to my earliest days on YouTube when Bendis was still writing Superman, and I'm like, I pull this book because I love Superman because Ivan's drawing it. If Ivan makes it easy to pull, still, you can just ride the art in it. He's just from his days in Green Lantern. He's amazing. Hyde Street. He's drawing.
Hyde Street's been good too. Yeah, and I'm not a big horror like reader in general, but that's been fun. That's been.
I'm the same
interesting
way.
Concept.
Yeah, I feel like it doesn't go too like it's got definitely some dark tones to it, but it's told in a way that it just doesn't feel like it's horror to be horror. There's definitely something more to it, kind of thing.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's not just hacking. It's not just blood and guts.
Yeah, it's not just gore. There's good story here.
Yeah, definitely.
Man, Pranky is about Sinister. That little Boy Scout kid.
Yeah.
Man, when they finally revealed the matinee monster, the big Frankenstein character, when Pranky and Mr. X-Ray were doing the Christmas issue, and they were torturing the Santa Claus guy who was robbing.
Right, yeah.
And then you do that, you turn the page, and it's just a massive 2-page splash of the matinee monster just flying through the air, snatching him out of the sleigh. I'm like, didn't see that coming.
Yeah, that artwork, that's really well done too, the artwork.
Yeah, you get some legitimate like page droppers reading those books. Oh. You got to get on to try some of this Ghost Machine, man. It's new. But
What
it's
did you? I know you posted on Instagram. I saw you a couple posts about it, the Fantastic Four trailer.
yeah. So it's Masters Week down here, so I've worked ungodly hours, and then my help is injured and stuff, so I had to work by myself today. So I was trolling the internet in an attempt to make it through the day. It was really fun, but I was just posting some Terminator 2 pictures, making fun of the Silver Surfer. Hold a moment.
I love you, Donnie.
The Thing pulling the boat behind him. I posted
Yes.
a side by side of Superman doing it, and then a little bit later I posted Johnny Depp doing it from Pirates of
Yes.
the Caribbean. Then we got Humphrey Bogart doing it. Just picking on people. I think it looks, I don't know, looks okay.
Yeah, I was. My first reaction was, yeah, no, the Fantastic Four I think looks good, right? They're going. Obviously, it's set like in the '60s. It's
Somewhere.
But the Silver Surfer, like as soon as I saw the Silver Surfer, and female, I'm like, and I wasn't the CGI and the effects didn't look so great.
No, she looked terrible, like, if we're being honest.
And then the fact that it's a female, just not that it matters for me, but I'm like, all right, the internet's going to go crazy.
Well, it's okay to say that it matters to you. It's your fandom.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't mind.
No one's
it, but
losing
I
sleep
think,
over it. Saying that I don't like the Silver Surfer being a female, like, not like that means you're losing sleep over it. You're cussing at the moon. It's like, oh man, I'd rather have Norrin Rad, the one that's iconic and been around for decades in books that stood the test of time for a reason, opposed to the appeared in 3 panels in all of comic history random character. It's a fair thing to say.
Yeah, no, but I almost wonder if it's, because there's, and I hate the fact that we're digging in so deep to these movies and trying to analyze every little bit of the trailer before.
I love it.
Now I want to be, I like to go to the theater and be surprised.
Yeah, we don't have the answers. We're like speculating on I don't speculate on comics, but I love to speculate on stories. It's fun to watch them and try to think about it and figure it out. The only downside is when we do it enough, we end up coming up with some really good ideas as comic fans.
Right.
And then you get to the theater and you're like, yo, why didn't the writers think of what we were talking about?
Yeah, right.
They would have known what we talked about. It would have been even better.
But I just, like already this afternoon, there were probably a dozen streams discussing the trailer, first reaction, and it's woke and all the different, things people were saying.
That's kind of their thing. They, Bob Iger, if you watch what happens behind the scenes in movie stuff, which I love movies, not just comic movies, but I like the industry is fascinating.
Oh, sure.
I always loved movies, but we're close to probably a year now where Bob Iger threw in the towel. Like, he does a lot of press. He does a lot of interviews, and he made this whole interview and he reiterated it over a couple of different interviews that Disney is moving back into an arena of making entertainment first content, which was his nice way of saying, we went too woke, we're going to back off. They got too political with stuff. They were partaking in too much real world divisive topics and all this stuff. They went to war against the state of Florida and lost. All kinds of stuff happened.
Right.
It doesn't matter where you stand on the issues. The fact is this company that's job is to entertain as many people as possible, the broadest audience possible, was failing to do so.
Right.
It has nothing to do with who's right or who's wrong or where you stand politically. That's not the point. The point is they have to appeal to the largest audience. And when it comes to comic book stuff, your comic book fans are your largest audience. If that wasn't the case, these properties wouldn't still exist. They've been around so long through thick and thin because of the comic people. If nobody else goes to see these but the comic people, they're a success if they're budgeted right. And if they fail them, they just destroy them on the internet. Then no one goes and sees them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly, Rich. But he said that they were throwing in the towel and moving back to entertainment first content and getting out of hot topic issues, is how he put it. But at the same time, they were talking about that they're going to scale back on the amount of content because they're also having this quantity over quality issue.
Right.
This year alone, we have the Marvel What If show, the Wakanda Forever cartoon, the Spider-Man cartoon, Captain America 4, Thunderbolts, the Wonder Man TV show, the Daredevil TV show, Fantastic Four, and there's 9 MCU projects, Ironheart releasing this year. All of these are projects that were in the works. A lot of them were meant to release a long time ago.
Right. Yeah,
Ironheart,
these were in prior.
Yeah, Ironheart was written and intended to be released before Wakanda Forgettable, but that is just now getting out. So a lot of this stuff is still going to be of the same tone and style of what they're trying to get away from. So it won't really be until we get into stuff releasing next year, the better half of next year, possibly even Avengers Doomsday, that we see a project and a production create something with this, all right, let's chill out and just aim for the audience again like we used to. So it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's a lot of this stuff has been in the pipeline, so it didn't have that kind of shift. So
Daredevil I would say Daredevil got half lucky, because they chose to they made it. They looked at it and said, this is garbage.
Yeah.
People are going to hate it. How we're admitting that we hate it and we like everything we do, kind of thing. And they fired their showrunners and stuff and came in and did rewrites and reshoots. And that's why that Daredevil Born Again was so disjointed and lacked a lot of cohesion. There's some cool moments in it, and there's a lot of head scratching stuff. And
it kind of felt like issues episodes 1, 8, and 9 were kind of.
Yeah, if you took out 2 through 7 and just showed 1, 8, 9, it would feel like a movie. You'd be done.
Yeah,
you wouldn't even know you're missing anything hardly.
Right. What did you think of the last episode?
I've liked 7, like from a story standpoint of a TV show episode. I think the penultimate episode was a better episode. I think they're trying to glaze the audience with gore to make them forget that you're supposed to be watching a story play out, because it was random. I get the sentiment of it, but like, just prime example, his girlfriend Heather is the literal worst therapist that's ever existed. In one moment she's psychoanalyzing Matt accurately, in the next moment she can't believe that Kingpin is anything but something crazy. In 1 second they're having a conversation again with him getting out of the hospital about how Kingpin's so dangerous, and then literally the next time you see her is her in a business suit at his office working for him. Like, in between then, he just had his whole apartment blown up. Like, she wouldn't know about this. And then Frank just being inserted in there for no good reason. Like, I love John Bernthal, but they took that character and just plugged him in there, and it felt like it. The whole scene with him walking into the warehouse with all the task force officers. Why did he go there? Why did he walk in there?
I don't remember why.
Because they don't show you.
Yeah.
You see Frank say, "Good luck on your adventures. Hey, Karen, I did you a favor like you asked. Thank you." Next time you see him, he's walking in there. Frank.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. There was like a disconnect.
He doesn't have superpowers. He's a tactician. He's special forces. He just willy-nilly walks into a warehouse that he knows all these guys are in, that he's going to get. It makes no sense.
Yeah.
Like, they think the audience is stupid. They're like, well, how can we trick them? I don't know. Squish a guy's head, because all they'll be saying is there's blood in the MCU, forgetting the fact that we saw Deadpool and Wolverine, forgetting the fact that we saw Moon Knight. Everyone's like, I can't believe they went here. They got gritty. Bro, they've been doing gritty for years when it's applicable for the characters. That's not new for you. It was new in Moon Knight. It was solidified big time in Deadpool and Wolverine. And now we're just so that, like, I think the story was there, just didn't play right.
Yeah, and I was surprised that the amount of gore, because we hadn't seen a lot of it throughout the series. We saw some, there were some people getting shot, but White Tiger. But it wasn't to that extent. It was a little bit here and there.
Yeah, I think the only thing that stood out as gore was the head crush. The rest of it was like dark room, just blood splatter, like when he was fighting Muse getting kicked, or when he was fighting Bullseye. But they wanted to do, last Friday, I popped onto my own live stream while I was at work and said my biggest fear is if they give us like kind of this half concocted finale that they just cover it in violence to try to shock and awe people from not seeing. But yeah, because it'd been so disjointed going up into it, you know, like we had the weird bottle episode in the bank and the Hector storyline that they inserted in there and didn't do anything with, and they tried to drag it out and make it seem more important by having his niece be the one that got kidnapped by Muse, and the whole Muse thing being a throwaway episode villain, which was crazy. Like,
yeah, I was surprised because they were kind of building Muse up, you know, even just in the discussion of the show, and yeah, and then for him to be, you know,
instead of him being like a seasoned villain, of course Kingpin should be in the show. But like, it's kind of like, do you remember how the CW went through like the Flash TV show? And Flash has like probably, he's in the top 5 for sure, possibly even the top 3 characters for best rogues. Like the only 2 that are guaranteed better than him is Spider-Man and Batman. Outside of that, Flash might have the best rogues gallery. For the CW show, they used the rogues in just episodes and just had a different speedster as your big season bad guy every time, which that gets so boring. And so with this, like you have Wilson there, you have Kingpin there as an ongoing character, but not always your ongoing main bad guy. You can build stuff over multiple seasons, do whatever, and have Muse be your villain for the season, you know, like this random, all of a sudden there's a serial killer that Cherry just walks up to Matt in a completely unprompted scene. Haven't talked about Muse at all. He just walks in the room and says, "Hey, Matt, I need to tell you something. Look at this," which is a funny thing to say to a blind guy. Hands him a file on Muse and says, "But don't worry, don't do anything about it." And then Matt goes and runs straight to his house. Literally straight to his house. Like, no investigating, no figuring out where he is, just run straight to his house. Like, it's just...
Yeah. How does that happen? Yeah.
They really think we're stupid as viewers. Now, there's plenty of it that I enjoy. Aspects of it here and there, like the fight scenes. That was about it, if I'm being honest. Some of the dialogue, I like some of the dialogue in episode 8 in the ball. I thought that was a proper penultimate episode because it felt like it set everything in place. But then in the finale, it was literally pointless. Like everything it set in place with all the characters, they just moved them elsewhere for the finale. I'm like, okay, y'all were cooking for a second. And them didn't even use Bullseye in the finale.
Yeah. I mean, it almost episode 8 almost felt like the finale, right? Because of the, you know, everybody was together in the ball.
I guess you'd had to put him in the suit to make it a proper, but yeah, you had everyone there. You had like the tension in the conversations, a reveal of Vanessa, and then a cliffhanger ending with taking a bullet. That would have been a good finale.
That would have been a good
cliffhanger. Yeah,
that would have been good. All right, they need to get you on as a consultant.
I don't know. I don't know if I could ever put one of these things together, but I can definitely watch something and tell you this doesn't make a lot of sense. This doesn't work. I've just watched so much stuff. I love movies and TV shows so much that when you watch enough of it, the good stands out and the bad stands out. And if I'm ever watching something, because I just naturally watch stuff critically. I don't think about doing it. It's just how I see stuff. It's how I read stuff. If something jumps out at me in terms of it, I'm sitting there flowing through a book or a show and something interrupts that flow, it stands out.
Right. Yeah. So Dan Slott is leaving Spider-Boy to go write Superman. So what Superman? Is it a new Superman title?
Yeah, it's called Superman Unlimited. It's the Summer of Superman initiative. It is going to be ongoing though. It really kicked off this week. This is the book that, like, people, it's been like on a $25, $30.
Oh yeah, that cover, the variant.
Yeah, this one shot came out this week. Now this is written, it's 3 parts. It's the wedding of Lana and John Henry Irons. Mark Waid writes part 1 and 2, and Dan Slott does the 3rd. So that was my first experience with Dan Slott on Superman.
Well, that's a hard act to follow after Mark Waid, though.
Yeah, he's not leaving Superman, thankfully. And he does a very weird job, if I'm being honest with you. I'm nervous about things to come. I think that special was all around pretty good, but like a villain is kind of bouncing through time and they're at the Kent farm for the wedding. And it starts with a flashback with Superboy fighting a Legion of Superheroes villain who pops up on the farm. And during the fight, he just pops away and they don't know why. Fast forward to modern day, they're at Lana's wedding on the farm, and the villain pops back up. It's like he's out of time, but he's in the same place kind of deal.
Oh,
And when
okay.
he pops up, a storm comes with him through the little portal. And he goes away. And now they have to worry about saving people from the storm. And in the process of doing so, Dan Slott felt the need for Superman to get on a soapbox and grandstand about climate change and do better. He had a Falcon moment from the TV show. I'm like, what are we doing right now? It's like, bro, that storm just came through an interdimensional portal. What are you talking about? And it was funny too, because he tells him like we should trust the scientists and trust the science. And John Henry Irons' niece says, "Isn't that what the people of Krypton did?" I'm like, oh, burned.
Yeah, so Marvel made 2 announcements. So Spider-Boy ends at issue 20, so we've got 2 more issues of that.
It doesn't have a different writer picking it up, or is it starting over?
No, they're gonna end it as volume 1, and I guess they're gonna bring them back at some point in another number 1. And then the Spectacular Spider-Man, the Spider-Man
That's a
Miles
cool
story, that's ending too.
That's a really cool cover.
I think issue 15. This is issue 14 that just came out this past week.
How many ongoing Spider-Man titles have there been? Spectacular, Spider-Boy, Spider-Man.
That's it. There's been a bunch of miniseries, but now they're going to debut a new series in May, Spider-Man and Wolverine.
Yeah, I saw that John Jane shared his cover for that.
He did? Okay.
Yeah, I just learned that one today.
So Carrie Andrews he's going to be the main artist.
The interiors, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So why don't they get someone like Kari on the ASM and get like a writer that can write on ASM?
Yeah, I mean, they've got Pepe Larraz now. He's got a pretty. He just started. He's going to be the main artist there.
No, I did read ASM 1 that just came out. Was it this week or last week?
Yeah, last week.
Last week. I read it. I don't want to say on Rob's recommendation because he didn't recommend it, but him and I were talking about it, and it made me just want to go check out. The art was pretty rough, except for the page splashes. The page splash with like him fighting Rhino looked really clean and looked pretty dope, but it was very weird art. Almost like some of it looked anime-ish to me, and some of it looked traditional Western to me.
It kind of looked like a painted, almost like a Norman Rockwell type, like the interview pieces with Peter. Like he looked very young, but then, like you said, the Rhino fight I thought was done really well.
Yeah,
there's a like a night page where Peter's out in the city, or Spider-Man's out in the city, and that was done really well.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the opening couple pages were a little Parker looked like almost like a teenager Parker. Yeah, it was a little strange.
Yeah, I did like the use of digital art to give the flashlight effect.
Okay. Yeah.
That was pretty cool for the end.
So it'll be interesting to see what the Spider-Man Wolverine's supposed to be a new ongoing. So we'll see.
Weird.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wish they would get their act together. Said it 1,000 times. I absolutely love the Marvel characters, but I just can't. I can't stomach spending money on. There's just too much good stuff out there. I pull a lot of stuff, and only 2 Marvel titles right now. Still, Ghost Rider and Hulk are the only Marvel titles I pull.
And how's the Hulk been? Because that I've heard mixed. Kind of been up and down, right?
I'm a Philip Kennedy Johnson fan, and I'm even like, this is just kind of getting long in the tooth. He's, he really made a name for himself doing the Action Comics War World saga. He's kind of the person that saved Superman after the Bendis era. And that was a saga, like literally planned out to be a saga. We're telling a long story here. And he's doing that with Hulk. Like we don't really get like story arcs. We've been dragging this monster mother thing out forever. It's just kind of weird having this little kid companion that's named Charlie that's now like a lichen god. It's just, I don't know. It seems like it's just gotten out into the weeds. Inconsistent with the art. You'll have Nick Klein on an issue, then he's on break for 2 issues, 3 issues, 1 issue, then he's back for 4, then gone for 7. It's just so inconsistent and weird, man.
I've been impressed. I'm reading Justice League Unlimited.
So good.
Mora and Wade.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a pretty good team.
Powerhouse. And that book is servicing so much of DC's continuity. The Question miniseries spawns out of the pages of that. The Atom Project spawns out of the pages of that. Challengers of the Unknown. Aquaman got its start kind of piggybacking off of that. Like everything.
The big difference, too, I see it in the writing is that there are a lot of different characters in that series, obviously, right? Justice League, you've got, how many heroes?
Everybody.
Right. And it's easy to follow when you're reading it. I'm not confused. Like I've read, the Spider-Verse titles with all the different Spider-Verse, Spider-Man characters, and it's confusing. It's and not only because I don't know all of these, they're introducing a lot of new characters. I don't know them, but it's the same case in Justice League. Like I know most of the characters, but I don't know a lot about all of the characters, but I don't find the writing style where I'm confused. Like I can follow it very easy reading it for the first time, where, like I said, the Spider-Verse stuff is like, I gotta flip pages back and forth and like, who's that? And like, it's confusing.
Yeah. With the Justice League, that's a lot of credit to Mark Waid. He knows his stuff, not just how to write something well, but he knows his characters. So the whole format to it is like everyone has the card now. Everyone has a JLA card. And when we need you, we're going to call you. If you're available, right, we need your help. So here's the problem. What resources do we need for this problem? We need an electricity guy. We need a fire guy. We need a speedster. And we need someone with some muscle. So when they go there, it's a little bit easier to follow because not only is it like a team, but they're all such a specific purpose. So like what's happening completely relates specifically to the featured character a lot of times. Outside of that, it's the big characters that we all already know and stuff. So just by their actions alone, it's kind of like a soft introduction or reintroduction to that character, like the Airwave kid doing the radio stuff for him. And who the hell's Airwave? What does he do? Oh, they just use him as a two-way radio in this giant catastrophe happening. So he has those powers, and it's just really
it's been fun. Like I said, I've really enjoyed it, and that, like I said, that stood out to me because sometimes when you're writing for that many characters, it can get it can be confusing for the reader to try to follow along. So
I'll tell you now, I think the best book, talking about big 2 monthlies here. I mean, indies are always going to be indies and an anomaly, but for Marvel and DC, the best book pound for pound out right now is New Gods.
I've heard a number of people say that. I have it digitally. I can access it digitally. So I want to go. It's bookmarked. I just haven't gotten to it yet. But I hear
you don't need prior knowledge going into it. Like just the basic knowledge of knowing that, like, Darkseid is the dead, and he led the planet Apocalypse, the evil planet, and its equal opposite is New Genesis. And that's all you need. It does the rest for you. It tells like the most epic stories playing out in there. Just holy potatoes.
And who's writing that?
Rom frickin' V. Another absolute powerhouse. And this really plays to his strengths too. Like it really does.
It's funny because he seems to be very hit or miss, right? Because he wrote Creature from the Black Lagoon recently.
I didn't read that one.
Yeah, that was, the Universal Monster series. Mm-hmm. And that was terrible.
Oh man. His run on Detective Comics, he did the Nocturnal Saga. He wrote it for a long while before this current one that Tom Taylor's writing. He did the Swamp Thing from Future State that got like extended from 6 to 16 issues. which was absolutely amazing.
Right.
He
Okay.
did the Black Label book Aquaman Andromeda, which is just a
Okay.
standalone, not in continuity. Again, Christian Ward did the beautiful painted art in it. Just so my experience with him has been just some DC bangers, really.
What did he ever run on Hulk too at some point?
Not,
Or no?
I don't believe so.
No. Okay.
He really first came in during so he's of this alumni of Philip Kennedy Johnson, Jeremy Adams, Ron B. They all kind of entered the pro industry about the same time during that future state time era event kind of thing. And there's got some indies under the belt. Many Deaths of Layla Starr is one that he did that a lot
Okay.
of people
I've heard good things too. Yeah.
praise. God, I can't remember. There's one other one called like Red Tides or something tied in the title, or another indie miniseries that gets a lot of high praise.
Well, and I think he was writing, I think, was it Ron B? He was doing another indie title where it was like two different books, but the stories were tied together. It was like a crime or killer type story. Try to remember what that was. That was recent too.
I suck at keeping up with indies.
Yeah.
I consider Ghost Machine and Energon indies, so that's my extent of indies.
Yeah.
Dick Tracy.
I agree with Ghost Machine being an indie.
What's wrong?
We can checkbox it.
What's wrong? In your room? Yeah, I can turn it on.
Do the kids have school this week? I know it's spring break here.
Yeah, they're back in school. We do our spring break to line up with the Masters week last week.
Oh, okay. Makes sense.
We just did Easter, like everyone, like when I'd sat down here and turned on your show right when everyone was leaving. We had a death in the family that threw off our Easter plans this coming weekend. The wife has to work on Easter. We were going to do it Monday, but now it's a funeral on Monday. So last night, last minute, we just changed up the Easter plans today. So my brother and his wife and their kids came over, and my mom and pops, and so we're just gonna have a late night.
It's been a crazy couple of weeks for you guys then.
Dude, just don't stop. For whatever reason, God decided for me to be super busy.
Wow, sorry to hear that about the death in the family. That's never good.
No, it happens.
Yep, life happens, right? Can't control it. Well, what else did you read this week? Anything? I mean, anything besides your
Torah? I read a lot of Torah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You're still working on.
Yeah, dude, I've got to tell you, I'm having a blast with that. I didn't realize how actually good it would be, and it's legit been amazing. I've bought original art. I've bought
the art,
original color pages, the figure, but the experience has been fantastic. Rags Morales, who's like big, thank you so much. He's a big artist. Like, I know you've heard of Identity Crisis at DC Comics. It was
yeah.
Rags Morales. I didn't realize it, but he's the interior artist for the Valiant Turok stuff. You know, you have the fill-in artists here and there, you know, when they have the
right, but he's the main.
Yeah, I had no clue, and the story has just been nonstop good. I didn't realize, like, I knew Valiant was edgy. You know, like I always assumed, like growing up around comics, like, yeah, these are definitely edgier, but I didn't realize how like their fingers on the pulse, even of some stuff that's very relevant today, like dealing with Indians or Native Americans and stuff, and like taking Native American and, you know, already rocking in like the white man's world. You know, there's differences in culture and stuff, but taking a character who's out of time by 100 years into the future, that has a whole nother element to it.
Sure.
It's wild. It's super good. It's not on the nose. It's not preachy. And it's just action packed, got heart in each issue, and just, damn, it's been good.
Huh?
Highly recommend it to anybody. You know,
how many books in the series?
47, 48 counting the issue 0, 49 counting the issue 0 and the yearbook. There's That's what they called their annuals or yearbooks.
Oh, yearbook. Okay.
Yeah, they did one. But man, it's good. I don't think there's anybody I know that reads and enjoys comics now that would not enjoy it. Like based on our standards, you know, like it's an up to par book despite being from the early 90s.
Gotcha.
Not everything's like that, you know. There's some out there that don't really hold up. But outside of that, the Absolute Flash #2 dropped. Are you keeping up with Absolute DC anymore?
I read issue 1. I didn't read issue 2 yet. I liked issue 1. I thought it was pretty good.
Clayton Crane's got a couple of covers for 1, 2, and 3. Do you plan on checking out issue 2, or you just?
Yeah, no, definitely. I forgot to pick it up, so I wanted to pick it up, and I forgot to grab it.
Yeah, I was very happy with it. I like what Jeff Lemire is doing. How he's not. Again, this kind of goes back to what we were talking about with Ghost Machine. They're not just throwing all the answers out there. Like let's actually tell a story. If you're going to buy and invest in a book, you should want answers and want the next issue. We owe you to want the next issue since you paid for the book, you know.
Right.
And I think he's doing a very good job of that, because this Flash is supposed to not have access to the Speed Force. It's supposed to be something else. So what's it going to be?
Right. Yeah, I enjoyed issue 1. I mean, but I have not read a lot of Flash historically, you know, so I thought it was a good story.
Yeah, dude, I cannot express how much I'm learning just from going through the entire Turok run. I'm more than aware of a handful of the characters, like Solar. I like that character as a kid, even. Like my old X Factor Cyclops toy from the early 90s. I still have it as painted up like Solar that me and my dad did when I was in first grade, sitting painting figures on the kitchen table. Exo was always cool because of the whole Iron Man connection. I hadn't even found it yet. I don't even know where it is. But seeing all the ads all through that stuff of all the different books that I'd never heard of, all the crossovers, all the other stuff. Yeah, just got it. But it's wild. And where I'm at right now, there's ads in each issue for the next run of Solar that's drawn by Dan freaking Jurgens, the essential Superman artist of the 90s who brought us the Marvel or DC crossover, the art for Death of Superman. It's absolutely wild. So Magnus, like the Gold Key characters, that's like all of them I was like more than aware of. I knew of Bloodspot. You know, there's certain ones, but it's like God, Rags did this other character. I've already forgot his name. But Neil Adams.
It's on Paramount.
I got it. Neil Adams was doing his own characters there that I was unaware of, and there was a lot of.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, Mike Grail even had this character called Shaman that they're advertising for a Shaman Turok miniseries. Like the Shaman had a 12-issue run. They were advertising for a little 3-issue crossover Turok. The crossover never happened, but the ad for advertisement does exist. Yeah, Shadow Man, that's another one I was aware of. I've had the game on Nintendo 64 since I was a kid. But dude, it was so vast. And one thing, because I've been posting on the YouTube posts on my channel and on Instagram as I read through it, and I found so many fantastic people and had so many great conversations and learned so much just from people expressing how much they enjoyed going through those back in the day and recommending other stuff to read from Valiant and warning me of when things kind of shift and everything once it switches to Acclaim and all that, which I'm past that now and it hasn't really fell off yet for me.
Right,
Shaman's Tears, yeah, that's it.
Catch up with Southern Comic Geek now, right? He's a big
Oh yeah, me and Jason been talking plenty. Yeah. Jason's my spirit animal when it comes to collecting Turok #1s. He's got like 260 something copies, and I've got just over 100 copies.
No, he got that many.
Yeah, 260 something copies.
That's funny. I sent him a stack of Valiant books. Like I bought a small collection, and there was a bunch of Valiant stuff in it. So this was, I don't know, probably 2 years ago. I sent him just a stack, like an AOK of all the Valiant books that were in that collection. It was like, a big stack.
Yeah. I've never thought it's because growing up in a house of a collector, you know, like with pops and everything. Like he has all of it. So I never thought to like go out and collect any of it or anything. And I've read Turok 1 plenty of times, but for whatever reason, I just got a hair at my butt. I'm like, I want to read issue 2. And crazy enough, we just offloaded the run like earlier
Oh,
this
really?
late last year, because we're just offloading stuff for space purposes. I kept issue 1, offloaded the run, and there's only like 3 issues left that we didn't sell. So I've gone back and rebought all of them, and I just opened the last one, so I've got all 49 issues sitting right there as I'm reading through them. And I've actually went and got a couple other things as well, like a Rob Liefeld cover for a more modern one that they did, and
Okay.
And then I've got the acclaim stuff too when it switches from the OG Turok to the modern Turok, because it becomes like a mantle instead of just an individual person. A Turok is like the mantle of the Indian that protects our world from that which comes from the lost land kind of thing. It kind of got steered heavily from the video games at that point, kind of deal.
Okay. Yeah. That kind of makes sense, I would think, right? As they
Kind of
trying
like
to
how
sell video games, right?
Yeah, toys can steer content heavily, like the Schumacher Batman stuff and the kids shows like Power Rangers. That's why they always change teams and change Zords and stuff, because they needed new toys to sell. If we can't
Right.
sell the same toy to the same kid, we need to sell them something else.
Yeah, there was so many of those type of series toy stuff that spun up in the 80s and 90s to try to sell, and then they would, create the toy line and then create the story behind it in a comic book or something else. Yeah.
That's why they Batman and Robin with Mr. Freeze. That's why they put him in different costumes at the end and gave him like the ice vehicles and everything, because that was all for the toy line.
Right. Yeah.
It worked out good. I was a kid when that came out. I have fond memories of it. I've watched Batman and Robin more than I could say. Yeah. Yeah. Who was that? Spaceballs. Merchandising.
Well, and that's Star Wars. I mean, their expanded universe with all the characters. I mean, I must have had 100 action figures when I was, growing up as a kid. All the Star Wars, and I still didn't have them all, but I had a carrying case that was busting from the seams with characters, with action figures.
That says a lot, because back then there's only 3 movies,
Yeah,
and they still had an unlimited amount of characters to make figures of.
But if you were a kid playing with the toys, you couldn't just have a stormtrooper.
No, you need a few of them.
Yeah, you needed multiples.
I'm gonna need at least 5 of those, Mom.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, Thomas. Or old school Jim Shooter was the editor in chief for a while, and it went to Bob Layton after him.
Taku Mike.
Hello.
I
saw Rich mentioned earlier that I think it was Rich that said Thunderbolts looks better, changed my mind, or whatever.
Oh yeah, it was Rich. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. We've gotten 3 distinct trailers for the Thunderbolts now. The first one felt really campy and goofy, like just regular Marvel doing Marvel stuff. But the second trailer, and then the one that showcases Sentry and the Voidmore, I gotta tell you, it looks really solid. I'm excited for Thunderbolts.
Yeah, I think it's going to be kind of I don't think it's going to be your typical Marvel movie. You know what I mean? In the sense of maybe in the tone of like the Guardians of the Galaxy, where it's a little bit different. I don't know. The trailer kind of gives me that sense that it's not going to be your kind of cookie cutter Marvel movie.
I think it has a little bit of right place, right time going for it as well. Like the MCU's in a weird place. We don't have Iron Man, Cap, Hulk. Like they're trying to keep this franchise running without the gas that got us here. Like the cars broke down.
Right.
But the characters that are kind of pulled together for this are all like cast rejects, like Ghost was
it's kind of the B squad.
Yeah, Taskmaster, nobody liked her because it was a whole bait and switch on us. Yelena is not Scarlett Johansson.
Right.
Red Guardian was a male insert punching bag in a female strong film, and he's not Captain America. Bucky never got the shield, and like it's just a lot of characters that you either A, don't want to see good things happen to anyways, or B, really could use a redemption arc, like, and not just from an in story reason, but like a very meta reason, like like in the grand scheme of the real world, y'all really screwed these characters, the cast that plays them, like they could really use a win. And the movies, they
you kind of feel like you want to root for them. Yeah.
Yes, it's like it's like the ultimate underdog movie.
Right.
What is going on, Dope?
Dope is in the house.
Yeah, I'm pulling for him, man. I hope it's good. I hope all these movies are good.
That I think it's Free Comic Book Day weekend that it opens too.
Is it?
Yeah, it's that weekend, that Friday.
We might have to talk after. Oh, that's Free Comic Days on. That means I'll have seen it Thursday. I try to go Thursday night to everything.
Yeah, maybe that's the plan, right? Yeah.
I have this old idea that like if you want the best viewing experience, you go when the diehard fans go, which I've always been a diehard fan. What's up, Jonathan?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, opening night is, or preview, is always the best. We saw, Endgame. I had to go see Endgame tonight, and the crowd was just, crazy.
Absolutely amazing. Yeah, I'm jealous of my kids during Masters Week kicked off on the day that Minecraft released.
And they went to see it, right?
So Pops took the kids. Me and the wife were working, and like before all the reels and video clips started hitting social media, like no one knew what to expect in terms of like Pops going to like we don't know about Minecraft. I didn't even know what Minecraft was like a year ago. Like never even heard of it. And so he takes the kids, and Pops sits there with the kids in a full theater and has that experience that you're seeing in all these videos. He said, I don't care what this movie is. This was like Endgame for children, and it was the funnest thing that I got to do to theater in years, and so that's why I like going. Like the best possible time to go is that premiere night, the fan night, and if you're going to have that experience, that's where it's going to happen.
I'm surprised you didn't have a Finn monkey, reaction to the.
Yeah, that would have been had I known what to expect, that'd have been cool to do. I've already pre-ordered the Steelbook for them and everything, and I'm excited to see it. I want to go back to the theater and watch it with them. I'm sure they'd be happy to see it again. I don't know if they're still having those kind of crazy fan screenings happening or not, but it'd been cool to be there for one.
I mean, Jack Black is he's pretty money at the box office these days, right? His last like 3 movies, Jumanji,
Mario,
and now this. Yeah.
Bangers. Yeah, I think it's funny how like you see like how small of a pocket the internet can really be sometimes, because leading up to this, I was seeing all kinds of memes that are like box office kryptonite, and they'd have a picture of The Rock, Jack Black, Gal Gadot, and like if I see these actors, I don't see these movies, are just trash. I'm like, since when do people dislike Jack Black?
Yeah,
when The Rock was like the highest paid, biggest draw in Hollywood when people started memeing him, is weird. Yeah. I don't understand. I mean,
Jumanji's just like, I like the Jumanji movies.
Yeah,
the first one was fun. It's not it's not winning any Oscars, but
it's not Shakespeare, but damn, it's rewatchable.
Yeah, it's a fun, Yeah, sometimes it's those movies that those summer movies, popcorn, the big action movie.
We're going to have the biggest summer movie attempt I've ever seen, with Jurassic Park, Superman, and Fantastic Four all in the same month.
When is Mission Impossible? When does that come out?
That's next month.
Okay.
Yeah, my top 3 most anticipated films of the year, in order, first off is Avatar 3. Even more than Superman, Avatar 3 is number 1 on my list. Then Superman, and then Mission Impossible. I think Mission Impossible is probably a little bit higher than Superman, to be honest with you. Like I'm a huge Mission Impossible fan. I think that's like the last bastion of real action movies that we get to see in cinema.
Right.
The dude's crazy. They just get better.
Oh, well, Cruise just wants to keep upping his stunts.
Yeah, he's wild. Did you see have you seen any of the footage that they show? They're doing the same thing they did for the last one, is they show like making of clippets as they're marketing.
Oh yeah, yeah.
They got a trailer out there, but there's this clip that they show where Tom Cruise runs and literally jumps from one building to the next, but it's so far that you can't clear it. Like he's aiming to jump and just
Right. That's where he
hit the
breaks his
body on the
ankle.
front. Yes, he breaks his ankle, climbs up, gets on both feet, walks straight to the cameraman, like without breaking character. Did you get the shot? I'm like,
Yeah, yeah. Well, and then I've seen the motorcycle jump, right? And they show like
six
you know
times in one day, dude.
they take out the ramp that he jumps from a ramp and they like digitally remove it and yeah,
Turn it into
that's
rocks.
crazy.
Watching the director, like that guy has to shave at least 7 years off the back end of his life every time he works with Tom, because he's working with the same director on these last few, and Tom's doing these stunts himself, these mega stunts, and the director's just sitting there like holding his walkie-talkie, not blinking, sees Tom fly off the cliff. Do we see a shoot? Do we see a shoot? like
Yeah, because if he goes down, he gets hurt.
Over everything.
Yeah, stop production.
In Mission Impossible Fallout, which was the one that, we got one coming out now. Dead Reckoning was the parachute off the dirt bike, and Fallout was before that. It was the one that Henry Cavill was in with him.
Right.
The big stunt for that one was a halo jump, high altitude, low oxygen, out of the back of like a big C-17 or something.
Oh, right. Okay.
And Tom's up there, and Henry talked to him. He's like, "Hey, I'd like to do this stunt with you." He's like, "I appreciate you wanting to. You cannot." Like the level of the stuff that I went through for training to do this, to be able to get the shot, because like they did it at one shot. Like you're in the plane, the cameraman's looking at Tom, and Tom goes to walk, hooks his oxygen up, and the cameraman just backs up and just jumps out of the plane, and Tom just follows him. So Tom has the directing vision in his head of how he needs to line up to this cameraman and everything.
Right. The shot.
He had one shot at this, and he wouldn't allow Henry to do the jump with him and he mentioned insurance reasons as well. And it had me thinking, who the hell insures Tom Cruise on the set of one of these? Like, how much could that possibly be?
Oh, I know. He must. I'm sure he has his own policy too, right?
He has to, because I can't think of a movie studio that would allow this. Sam Worthington, the actor who plays the lead in Avatar, he had like that mega summer where he was in like Clash of the Titans, Avatar. He was in like a handful of movies at the same time, but he's one of the actors that pushes to do his own stunts, and he was having to fight with the insurance people on the set of Clash of the Titans to allow him to do his own stunts, because he get beat up and hurt, like getting thrown through like the fake barriers and stuff, and the poppers going off in your face and all the sandy environments. He was getting cut up and everything, and they were getting upset about that, but he wanted to do them himself.
There's a big stunt that in Thunderbolts too, right?
Yelena jumped.
She jumps off the building, right? Yeah. And that was excited. That was like a big, insurance issue too, right? Because they didn't want her to do it, but she wanted to do it, and
people might not think about it, but Florence Pugh, she's a massive box office draw. Like, she's an Oscar nominated big time actress outside of like the little comic book stuff we're into, but in the actual cinema stuff. So her jumping off a building is, one, wild, and two, very like that's a huge investment that people are watching fall off a building. That's real people with real money, with real plans. They're watching her jump off a building and possibly changing the projection of all of their lives for the next couple of years. A lot of stuff goes into making these movies, and it takes time. Who knows how many contracts she already has signed before the day she jumped off that building. But I was excited to see the Oscars are adding the stunt man or stunt worker.
Oh, yeah. I just saw that. Yeah. Stunt category, which is good because the amount of stuff.
These are the people that literally die for our entertainment.
Right. Yeah. Well, and two, it's another way to recognize kind of the action genre, or that typically gets overlooked, right? Because they get, editing or special effects, but they don't ever get. So it's just another way to give them an opportunity. So that's
Yeah, a
pretty
lot
good.
of those movies are never going to get
Right. Yeah.
director of the year, story of the year
Right.
kind of thing.
They
But
get like editing, sound editing, that type of stuff, wardrobe sometimes. But yeah, yeah, yeah. No, that was pretty good. That was good to see.
yeah,
Yeah. What did you think of in the FF trailer? They only showed a small piece of it. Was Reed Richards his
I think he looked
stretch?
fantastic. I think he looked absolutely fantastic when he was, no pun intended, when he was doing the stretch thing for the
Right.
second.
Yeah.
You remember when Miss Marvel was coming out on Disney Plus and they completely changed Kamala Khan's powers from being stretchy to being Green Lantern? And I'm like, this is stupid. And the internet's defense was stretchy powers don't look good. Stretchy powers don't look, you can't make stretchy powers look. I'm like, bro, like we can make anything look good. We have really good computer special
Right.
effects out there. I've never understood that. Like it doesn't look natural because people shouldn't been that way. But I think that shot looked really, really cool with him stretching from debris to debris.
Right.
I'm a big fan of stretchy
Yeah, that
powers.
looked good. I was just surprised that they only really showed just that little piece of it, though. I thought we might have got a little bit more, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah, do they even in the Fantastic Four films that we have previously, all of them, even the bad ones, there's some really cool looking stretchy power stuff that they do in all of them. Like
well, the
in the,
other little piece in the trailer that I liked was the kids cheering for Ben Grimm, like for him to
yeah,
lift the car. Like
yeah, the whole
'cause-
Action Comics one shot with the
yeah,
same
yeah.
kind of car and color. Yeah,
Well, but
I like
I
the
mean,
shot of him
typically,
dragging the boat like the Superman did.
yeah, yeah.
A lot
But
of Superman
typically, right?
stuff.
He's always been, he's down on his luck because he's the Thing, right?
Mhm.
Nobody's cheering for him, so that was good to see.
I like that shot of him running through all the beams, like at
Oh
the
yeah, yeah, yeah,
boom, boom.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, he looks really good. Like the actual design for him and everything, he looks really good.
yeah. We'll see. I mean, that could, like I said, I think the villain piece is the hot topic, right? I don't think anybody's really complaining about the Fantastic Four, the look,
Give
but
them
I think
time. They
it's
have to get done calling out the BS first.
it's gonna
The
be
Silver Surfer thing, like why would Disney just they know what's going to happen and they
right.
still choose to do it anyways. Like we had a good idea for a Fantastic Four movie. Oh, let's hear it. Oh, that does sound good. But how can we shoot ourselves in the foot? I got an idea. Like it's crazy. Whoever they need to fire some people, like for real, for real. But it's just it doesn't make sense. The Galactus tease was fantastic. They didn't show us Galactus. We got that little tease of him looking up to the building that they showed at D23 or whatever. But in
Okay,
terms of official trailer, we just have his silhouette over the
right. The
city and
silhouette, and you
everything.
got his feet at the end, right? Yeah,
Yes, how cool was that? Just in the car flying by, like that
yeah,
was
that was
cool.
funny. That was fun. Yeah, we'll see.
I hope it's good, man.
I hope it's good.
I think Pedro's really stale in the trailer. I think he's very stale as Reed.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not convinced yet. I don't see Reed Richards at all. I see just Pedro Pascal. I see Joel from The Last of Us, which that's just a very commanding performance he gives in that show that really just outshadows a lot of everything else I see him in. If I go back and
his face, he's got a look, right? He's got a unique look, and he's been in so many things over the last 5-6 years.
Game of
Wonder Woman,
Thrones, Wonder Woman.
Mandalorian. He's in so much stuff that it's kind of. I agree. I'm not 100% sold on him.
This kid looks like he has like a little plushy stuffed animal toys for kids that is like a little kitten, but it has like the big sparkly eyes.
Yeah.
That's what Johnny looks like to me. It looks like he has like those big plushy kitten eyes. Vanessa Kirby looks spot on.
Yeah. No, she looks
me,
good.
like I see Sue. Like I don't see Jessica Alba as Sue. I literally see Sue Richards. Like it looks like comic to screen for some reason.
Yeah.
And that's another Mission Impossible alumni actress right there. She's the White Widow, the arms dealer, the middleman, the fixer kind of lady for the black market in the Mission Impossible franchise.
Oh, really?
She's great. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like yeah, she's the middleman for the black market people. If you need something, you go to her. She'll find it and
Get it
procure
to
it or arrange the deal for you
for a price.
for a price. Yep. And we found out in the last one that she's been under protection from the agency the whole time, which is cool.
I'm gonna have to go back and watch the last mission. I watched it not that long ago, but to get prepped for the sequel. Okay, yeah.
I can get it to focus. There it goes. Yeah,
Yep.
She's always wearing that outfit. I don't just keep those laying around. The movies are in alphabetical order on shelves, and the M's are just right here.
M was in reach.
M's are in reach.
All right, Mark. I think it's almost time for me to go to bed.
I probably should do the same thing, my friend. Yeah, I
You
appreciate
got-
you.
well, no, Friday mornings are usually.
Yeah, I'll be streaming at 7:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
Be talking a lot of the stuff that we discuss. Get other people that want to hop on and weigh in and come chat. We literally talk about anything in the world. It's not limited to comic book stuff, obviously. If anybody wants to hop over and just
cover the
watch
gamut
while you
over
work
there,
or join the panel, you're more than welcome to, as long as you confirm that you're not going to pop on and have your pants off or something inappropriate. I saw where another community member got heavily and very inappropriately trolled earlier tonight.
Oh, really?
There's always unnecessary drama going on, and this seemed a little excessive even for that. Someone hopped on and started saying wild stuff in the private chat on the StreamYard side, just trying to insulting and trying to completely fire up the people that apparently were on the stream at the time.
Right. Oh, that's a new one. That's a new technique. Get on the stream and just, or not even get on the stream, but just spam the private chat.
In the private chat. Yeah.
Wow, that's a new one.
Yeah.
Ugh. Come on, man. We want to have fun with comic books. Don't need all the drama.
You know, some people that is their fun, but do what they want to do. Don't affect me unless I let it.
7:30 tomorrow morning.
7:30 every Friday morning. It's kind of it's an off day for me every week. Just try to just catch up with the homies online and just chit chat. Wow. Just go till we can't go no more.
You can count on Rob being there. He's always there.
Now, this kind of troll is there's I'd say there's good spirited trolling that's I think is just like you just kind of, in my mind, trolling is no different than the computer version of just picking on your buddies when you're hanging out, you know.
Well, that's how having fun, poking fun is one thing.
Yeah, that's what trolling is supposed to be, not blatantly trying to genuinely hurt somebody.
Right.
Like that's crazy to me. Like
trying to get
crazy
people
part
upset.
is like you ain't got nothing else going on with your life, or like you really like what do you get from that? If you get something from that you need to reassess your life.
Right.
That's crazy.
Like I wouldn't feel good after doing that.
Yeah. I wouldn't feel like I accomplished anything. And you know me, Brian, you know me very well enough to know I love to argue. I love to be right, but I'm debating and arguing nothing that matters in reality. You know, we're talking comics or random conspiracy stuff that none of us can confirm, or like it's stuff that we can have fun arguing about. I love to argue, but not about anything in real life. Like it's crazy.
Not the real priority stuff.
No, like don't sweat the small stuff, and it's all small stuff.
Yes, lots of, especially on YouTube, right?
Yes, this isn't real.
Right. We're having, should be having fun here.
Yeah, real was when I clocked out of work. That's when I'm done with the real for the day.
Let's see. Where are my clips here?
Hope you have a good one.
Yeah, we'll see you. I'll be maybe I'll jump on tomorrow morning. If you got a problem, just call your
lawyer. I'm not saying a damn thing.
Call your lawyer. All right, Mark. Yep. Thanks for jumping on, and we'll see you. We'll leave you with let's see, little DVH dancing. How's that? And we'll see everybody in the morning on Mark's channel. Later.
From the spiral dimension.